Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Psycho Gold, this is Psycho Gold Videos. Today we're going to be checking out LtNormX got reincarnated as a slime, episode 15. Yep, I can't believe it folks, we've been watching this dude for what, 16 weeks now? Because 1 week it didn't air, and it just feels like I started watching Rimuru only the other day, and I think we've actually got less episodes to go now than we've watched, and that's kind of depressing, man. I mean, there's plenty of good anime to take its place, don't get me wrong, but I just can't believe we're on episode 15 already. But here we are nonetheless. In the last episode, Rimuru took out the Orc Lord, aka the Demon Lord, Geld, and some people have been a bit confused by my comments. Geld was by no means a good character, but what I meant is you got to see things from his point of view, his perspective, his people's perspective. There is never one side to a coin, there's always two, and in war, neither side is really wrong 9 times out of 10. There are obvious exceptions to that rule, and yes, you're absolutely right. Them deciding to eat every other living thing that they come across is certainly not the correct choice, but it is ultimately a choice. And something that I think a lot of people have missed is the fact that once you're under the effect of starved, you really don't have much brain power, and the orcs who are under his control, they didn't have a choice in the matter. And when I said that he was lied to, he was told that people who were ate by starved weren't dead, they were simply absorbed and put into the collective power of the orcs, but they were still alive. Which I'm not saying that makes it right, but the point was, it's because of the state of mind he was in, because of his mix of his desperation, the fact that obviously Gelmud had named him, and then he had transformed him into a less intelligent creature, ultimately. He couldn't really think through what he was being told to. He was easy to manipulate, point in a direction and say, go chow down, man. After all, you are hungry. And obviously that was the point, is that the orcs were eternally hungry because of the effect of starved, but it also made them ridiculously strong and difficult to defeat. I mean, they ate each other, which they were more than happy to do. I mean, you remember that chant? They said that, you know, their flesh is being gladly given to make the whole horde stronger. So again, it's not right from our point of view, but from the orcs' point of view, they, you know, they might have different beliefs, they might have different values, so that's all I meant. Like, it was just interesting to actually get the point of view of the bad guys. But anyway, I want to know what happens in the aftermath of last week's episode, so we're going to jump in and check it out right now. 3, 2, 1, go! The day after the defeat of the Demon Lord Geld. What? We got a new opening! Oh, okay. New soundtrack, boys! Are orcs going to become part of Rimuru's village? Oh, and I think I saw a few dryads. Oh my god. Look at the list of them! There's all of them! The Jura Forest Alliance. Is he going to make an alliance between all the races? Okay. Oh, my boy! That's literally what I just said a minute ago. That's what he promised Geld. That's what he meant by I shall take their sins. So he's going to take the brunt of all of their negativity. Yeah, what will happen to the orcs? I mean, I think we all kind of know after seeing the opening. Oh! He's gonna make a proper little nation! I'm loving this! All the races... Yes, man! This is what I've been saying from the beginning, that this is what he seemed like he was moving towards. I was gonna say, I don't think they're gonna mind. I suspect that they have been outcasts pretty much their entire lives. There you go, Rimuru, you've got another bunch of loyal followers. Oh, and the Lizardmen are happy with. The new Chancellor of the Great Forest of Jura Alliance. Yeah! There you go, Rimuru, you've just become the man in charge. Is he going to apologize? Yeah. That's what I said, man. They weren't in control. Oh man, he wants to fall on his sword for everybody else, just like Geld did. Oh, she's a samurai! Bodyguard to Great Rimuru. And still his secretary. Oh, instructor, spy. Ha ha ha, yes. Forgiveness is on the menu tonight, lads. Man, he's grown since he was first introduced. I like the way his character's developed over time. And I get the distinct impression I'm gonna like these, of my father! Oh, he's his son! So, what's he gonna change into? Evolved into the Orc King. Oh, he named the whoa! He got an upgrade! Oh, and he feels guilty. But I don't blame him for. He thought he was doing the right thing. That's alright, dude. I don't think you're gonna die. I think you'll get the chance to ask him. Yeah, I had a funny feeling that's what he was going to be. Is that the staff he had, or is that one that's been made specifically for him? Here come his friends. And then they're gonna go with you. Because they might be idiots, but man, they're your friends. Yep, you really are idiots, but... friendship, man. What's that? The slime? Yeah, so Rimuru now has a new enemy. The High Orcs! Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, and of course they're being tutored by the Dwarf. I bet they're, hella good workers, because Orcs have pretty good strength and stamina normally. Yeah, they're like, they ain't those wood huts anymore. They got proper, they got an aqueduct. Oh my god, they're gonna have like the most advanced civilization. A general contractor. Nice. Yeah, that is pretty handy. Don't tell me. This is us, isn't it? Yeah, knights. Here come the humans who don't understand monsters. Wait, no, hang on, that's the dwarves. I was gonna say, just hear them out and talk. Oh. Okay. So, that was unexpected. I didn't think Rimuru was going to accept so easily. Oh, okay. So, Rimuru was like, oh, well, there we go. That's settled. And then he was like, nope, I'm still fighting you. Don't rush me. I don't think it's his intention to let you slowly build up. I was gonna say... Wait, is that a special ability? Yes, it is! Okay, that was unexpected. Damn, that was close. Don't tell me that that's the same person that trained him. Oh, no way! That's so cool! That you have surpassed me with the sword! Oh, damn! How... but... Wow, okay, small world! Yeah, exactly! I mean, a little bit of a coincidence, but that guy is pretty good with a sword, so it shouldn't be a surprise, I suppose. Yeah, but... I think he's realized that you're not just a gathering of monsters. And at the end of the day, dwarves aren't exactly known for caring what other people think. The Jura Tempest Federation! I like it! Yeah! I like that name! This town shall be called Rimuru. Why would you call the capital city Rimuru? I was gonna say, that's kind of an embarrassing name. No other name would do. Oh, even Benimaru likes it. Ah, so who are these kids then? Where have they suddenly appeared from? Oh, wait, no, they're her kids, aren't they? Ah, what's her name? Shizu? The woman who died. She was on about the kids that she taught at that school. I bet they're gonna be her former students or something. This is gonna start getting hard to keep track of. I see Gabiru and some lizard men in that group too. Interesting. Ah, I love this show, man. Demon Lord Milim attacks. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was that time I got reincarnated as a slime, episode 15, and oh my days, man. This show just went on a completely different level. I mean, wow. We now have an alliance between all of the races that we've been introduced to so far, barring humans. But all of the monster races, regular goblins, our hobgoblins, the former enemy, the orcs, who are now the high orcs. We've got the lizard men, we've got the dire wolves. I mean, we have literally got everybody that we've been introduced to now living under one roof almost, and the different nations that aren't living in the town that Rimmeru's built are in agreement to be allied, and the Dryads have endorsed this, and the Lizardman Chief has now been upgraded and evolved as a result of becoming an ally of Rimmeru, which means his power is increased and he's reasserted himself as the dominant force in his kingdom. He managed to exile his son as opposed to kill him, and he gave him his own trident, so yeah, I suppose he kind of had to exile him because of his actions, but it's obvious that he still obviously cares about him and he wanted him to have, you know, his own trident and something to basically help keep him safe out there. And I think it's a pretty safe bet that Gabiru and his 3 friends, who I actually now quite like, by the way, like, they won me over in that episode where they took a blast for Gabiru, and he in turn was like basically crying over that because he knows deep down that he's really not worth it. But the fact that all of the things he did was for the right reasons. He was completely and utterly wrong, but he thought that his dad was handling things the wrong way, and he thought that that was going to cause them to lose. And to be honest, if the orcs weren't being led by someone with starved, he might have actually been able to win. I mean, the lizardmen were running rings around the orcs until the orcs absorbed the lizardmen's power by eating them. So, you know, I kind of think that with some training, with some outside influences, I think Gabiru and his 3 friends could actually be not only useful to the Rimmeru village, but I actually think Gabiru himself could be a pretty decent character, especially with that trident. I mean, we all know that Gobta managed to defeat him in combat, but give him some same training under their new teacher. You know, they've all got ranks and titles, though, Zoni. I think that could be very interesting to see. I would love to see his character get some development like they've given to the former ogres. And with that said, I'm also very interested to see what they do with the orcs. The new guild, I think, could be a very interesting character, very similar to Ranga. Obviously, Ranga's father was killed by Rimmeru, but he has basically decided that Rimmeru is a better master. He's got, you know, complete loyalty to Rimmeru. He managed to evolve up to his next form out of his devotion to Rimmeru during the fight with the orcs, which I thought was an absolutely fantastic moment. And, you know, Rimmeru can just inspire all these monsters who I think have never really had anybody like this come along. And, you know, they clearly love being treated as individuals, being treated as sentient beings, to the point that the dwarves, when they turned up, like the king said, he was there to judge whether or not Rimmeru was truly what he appears to be, or whether or not he was somebody evil lurking underneath, just trying to bring together a massive army that could then challenge the bigger kingdoms like his own, but other sentient races as well. So I can't blame him for thinking that way, because that's what he's got to do as the leader of his people. He's got to keep his people safe, he's got to keep his kingdom secure. All of those Pegasus Knights did either seem a bit overkill or redundant, however you want to look at it, because I honestly don't think he brought enough. If their point was to basically wipe them out if they needed to, I really don't think there were enough of them. Like, we've seen what all of the Kajin, I think they're called, and the direwolves can do when they get irritable, and they've also got 150,000 high orcs, plus the hobgoblins, and the regular goblins, and obviously attacking him also now would technically bring the dryads and the lizardmen into the conflict. Now, admittedly, he didn't know that, and once he saw that Trine had... or Trini, I'm not quite sure, never quite sure how to pronounce her name myself, but once she showed up, he automatically, I think, had realized that there was more chance of him actually being who he said he is. And I really like the fact that it turned out that his teacher was actually one of the Kajin, and that in itself was also kind of confirmation. Like, if he says Rimuru okay, after he himself has just judged that Rimuru is both skilled and pure-hearted, like he was just defending himself, didn't try and attack, I think is what the point of that test was. I was really into it. Like, it confused me at first, but after, like, I thought about it and I was watching it, I was like, actually, no, this kind of does make sense. Then we got that epic moment where we now have a name. We have the Jura Tempest Federation, which I think is an absolutely terrific name. Yes, the Great Jura Forest Alliance is important as well, but the fact that we now have a name for the nation, I think, is going to be a very big point going forward in the storyline. I think other nations are going to be very irritable with the fact that the dwarves have essentially endorsed this nation as a place that exists, because surely this forest must belong to someone, or is it completely neutral because everybody knows that it's full of monsters and that the storm dragon is kind of like its unofficial lord, even though he's trapped in that cave. His presence alone from memory was what was keeping other creatures out of the forest, so maybe that, you know, explains kind of why other races hadn't moved in on a more, like, official basis. You know, why there wasn't a human town, or why there wasn't a dwarven outpost, or something along those lines, why it was just mostly goblins and lower level monsters that roamed that forest. Obviously, we've seen that there were things like ogre villages there, but those are all monsters that don't have, like, a country or a nation or their own one big unified banner, from what I understand. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of a response they get from having declared themselves a nation and having already found themselves an ally in the form of the established, officially recognized Dwarven Kingdom. And I said when we first met the Dwarven King that I liked his character, even though I didn't agree with everything he did, and it's interesting now that he's kind of decided to, you know, 100% ally himself with Rimuru, which, if I remember correctly, is what he actually said might end up happening in the future when we saw him last time. Like, he said we needed to keep an eye on that slime because he might become very important in the future. We need to maintain, you know, good relations with him, and what happened here may have damaged that, and that's why he was very annoyed at that other dwarf that tried to basically manipulate him into getting rid of his longtime friend, but the king saw right through it, even though he still did exile his friend. But obviously he can now see his friend because he's now in an alliance with Rimuru, so he has every reason to just come and visit them whenever he wants. I also really love the way he dealt with the orcs in general, just to go backwards a bit. The way that he decided to basically take on the sins of the orcs, and he agreed to have all 150,000 come live with him, and if anybody has a problem with the fact that the orcs aren't going to be punished, then they can take it up with him, was kind of like, that's pretty gutsy, dude, considering, like he said, the lizardmen and the Kajin weren't exactly the biggest fans of the orcs. But that scene where the son of the first guild basically offered up his head to Benamaru, I was like, he's not gonna do it, dude. He's gonna be benevolent, he's gonna say, you know, the gracious thing, he's gonna say the right thing, and he's gonna basically say that you'll forgive him because you serve Rimuru. But I did like the fact as well that he did point out that if any of you turn on him, you won't get the chance to enjoy it. And it's kind of like, that's how I think most of the servants of Rimuru are once they've properly become loyal to him. Like, they'll accept whatever he says, but damn, man, if someone actually manages to come along and become a real threat, I'm very curious to see how each of the members of the races that we've got are going to react. And if in the next episode we're going to get a confrontation with the now revealed Demon Lord, I'm very curious to see just what the new nation is going to do in response. Like, I would love to see some of the other characters, like the leader of the Hobgoblins, like the new Orc Lord, or Orc King, sorry, the new Geld, and, you know, some of the other Kajin that we haven't seen do as much, like the Princess, for example. I'm very curious to see those guys kind of like defending the homeland, whilst maybe the others are out in the forest fighting maybe a different force. And whilst they're out there fighting, people, you know, come to the village and cause trouble, and then these guys step up and are like, I mean, obviously we've also got the Goblin and Direwolves combination, the Riders that Gobt is in charge of, so I would imagine that they're going to be involved as well in any defense. So I can see a big, like, I don't want to say an army fight, but you know what I mean. I can see a big fight happening at some point in the series. They've got the numbers now. They've got numbers, they've got cavalry, they've got mages, they've got ranged units, they've got advanced weaponry, they've got blacksmiths that can create enchanted weaponry in, you know, really high quality armor. They've got alliances with both a Lizardman community, and they've got an alliance with the Dwarven Kingdom, so they have friends that they can call on, the other Goblin communities out there. Yes, they might not be as helpful as having the Lizardmen and the Dwarves come to your aid, but they are ultimately still out there. They are still, you know, another 5,000 Goblins that can be brought in to aid you. And I think it could just be, I can just see the Forest Alliance, oh, and the Dryads, of course. I can just see the Forest Alliance coming together at some point to have to fight out an army of equal ability or size, now that pretty much everybody is involved. And, you know, I think it's either going to be another nation of probably humans who really don't like the idea of there being a monster nation. You know, they're going to find that idea ridiculous and they're going to try and wipe them off the face of the map. Or it's going to be this Demon Lord dude, maybe not in the next episode, but maybe at some point he's going to bring an army of demons and Majin, and he's going to, you know, bring up all of his summons and his demonic buddies to just come and rain hell upon Rimuru and give him one hell of a bad day. But obviously, he is probably also going to come in overconfident. He's going to be like, you know, I can do this in one shot, and maybe that's true, but the fact that he'll overestimate his abilities and underestimate Rimuru will probably mean that over time, Rimuru's forces may just win. But I don't know, I'm doing a lot of speculating about what we could see in the future. This episode was just great, man. I loved it. Like I said, we're 15 episodes in, and I still don't think there's been an episode of Slime that I haven't thoroughly enjoyed and hasn't left me with that feeling of going, God damn it, now we're going to wait another week for another one. So, what more can you ask for? Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me, I think, for this episode. Thank you very much for sticking with me to the end. Please don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. Drop comments down below letting me know your thoughts on this episode, your thoughts on where it's going next in my reaction. And if you're new around here, if this is your first time, then please feel free to click that subscribe button. I will be doing more Slime, and I have plenty other anime at the moment that I'm reacting to, and I'm checking out quite a few anime that are airing right now. 3 of which air on a Monday, which is a pain. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it from me. As always, my dudes, my name is Psycho Gold, and I will see you in my next video. Psycho Gold, out.